Hey everybody, it is Jillian. It is Jillian. Oh my gosh, so much to unpack here. And of course, on the anniversary of good old Dr. Phil time, I remember when I first got the call from Dr. Phil, initially I said no, I didn't want to do it. But then I think I waited till about October. It was like in the middle of summer or spring of the prior well, no, it was October, and then I think I no, it was prior to the October of where I was asked again to do the Dr. Phil show. And I said finally yes, because I had moderators and I was trying to sell a book and I had people that I wanted to help support because they were, I don't know, there was something going on during that time that I wanted really, my moderators to really get some kind of benefit. And so the only way I could do it really was going public with this, even if it was on a venue of Dr. Phil, of which I still hoped that he would give me some kind of egalitarian, equal looking at everything, or equal time to promote my stuff. But it was really a hit piece. But that's okay. I mean, sometimes you have to have a little controversy before people actually take you seriously. And actually, it's funny. Last night I was watching, or this morning I was watching, or last night I was watching a YouTube video of this lady who, some true crime daily was saying that this lady that was on the Dr. Phil show was a cult leader and she ended up being mummified. And they said that, when she's on Dr. Phil, she's like, oh, a cult is when you're transparent, when you're not transparent. And I'm transparent. And then she ended up being dead or something. And so I'm like, oh God, I want people thinking I'm on Dr. Phil, that I'm going to end up, whatever. And I'm doing fine. So the memories of Dr. Phil was just like, it's kind of fun remembering that. And especially during the springtime when it aired in May. And I remember just all of that. So anyways, I tagged a few people in this video because I want them to really understand what cancer is. Okay, cancer is basically an overabundance of agonist antibodies. And you don't hear about agonist antibodies in mainstream media. They don't talk about it at the doctor's office because they're all about suppressing evolution, suppressing any kind of real growth. And so when a person finally matures and they're at a certain level of a plateau, that's where they try to keep people, is they maintain the plateau and then they're on the decline. And when they're on the decline, a person is in pain. They get cancer, disease, chronic illness, autoimmune disorders. And then what the system attempts to do is to stop the uncomfortable type of feeling of evolution because the body is dying to live. And of course, it's on the decline. And so what they do is they try to cure you. Cures are curses, and they also suppress your evolution. And so that's why when people get cancer, it's because there's a certain amount of agonist antibodies that are promoting so much growth in one area that the other parts of the bodies are not catching up to it. And so then those agonist antibodies usurp all the energy in that environment, and sometimes they can shut the organs down. But the thing is what you have to understand is that you're at a deficit. So you're way behind the 8 ball. So you're like an egg, and you need to bring the body up to the current, well, not egg, you're like a chicken. You're in surplus, but you have to now bring the rest of the body up to the speed of the evolution of that cancer. And so instead of destroying the cancer, bring everything around the body up to that potential. And so last night I was listening to more of the Jodi Arias case because I just love listening to Juan Martinez. I like listening to the judge. And there's so many videos like on Jodi Arias that when you listen to so many, you'll pick out certain points that are really, really interesting when it comes to words, when it comes to concepts, when it comes to just how they position all the different evidence, because you can have one piece of evidence in 2 different stories. And how are you going to position your truth, your story on that evidence to then influence the jury to pick your side? Okay. And so that's exactly the same thing goes on right now in politics, related in science, and with the Jilly juice is you can have the evidence of antibodies, whether they're antagonist antibodies, which are the ones that people talk about that go do a search and destroy. And then there's agonist antibodies that no one talks about. And so how does the medical establishment and how does the science out there, the study of, position a story around these truths? And so it's no different than going into a courtroom and trying to plead your case. And so when everyone's belief systems are you should die at some point, go out with a bang, be a supernova, be a star, be a rising star, and then be a falling star. And then it's hard to penetrate that belief system. And then it's hard to get people to understand that pain is actually evolution. And so those that are on the J juice that have cancer, they're dealing with cancer, dealing with pain, and they were realizing that it clicked when John was saying, because John is like John Oakes has been heavily giving me feedback on his progress. And so I take bits and pieces of what he says, and it clues me in on what's going on here, what goes on in his biochemistry, as well as what he does on his daily lifestyle. And then I see that, he's probably one of those, just like other people that do a lot of JJs, like almost every day, because they're trying to be really good and do it. But then there are two sides to even the JJ's protocol. It's not just the JJ's, it's the food supply. It's a balance of covalent and ionic bonding. And so it clued me in that, okay, so maybe it's time to take a break, because that's what I did. But I thought maybe because I'm different and you guys are different, I can't tell everybody universally, well, you do this, 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 and this. So I say, okay, well, I always err on the side of do a bunch of Jilly juice, get your waterfalls, eat food. We're not doing any more diets. Don't be discriminatory in your food supply. Get the fat, get the protein, get all that, the carbs and the sugars and all that. But also too, we are in an environment, again, that is like 5G, heavily energetic, transducers in the viruses. We learn about that there's transducers, actually piezoelectric transducers, even in the pineal gland. And that's what leads us to guidance from the universe. And so with that much energy in the universe, okay, and you're doing J-juice and you have a labor intensive work, how about this? If you don't see any kind of progress in certain things that you have an issue with and that you see, whether you have really thin hair or no hair at all, or you're very obese or very, very skinny, then if you're doing the J-juice, then you're going to have to apply the J-juice in a way that's going to make sense, where you see specific measurable results. It's not just enough just to do the J-juice and eat food and that's it. You're looking for results, or you'd be no different than the holistic allopathic that just kind of throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. And so we're realizing now that, okay, I have done where I've taken a week-long break. Like I primed myself for a couple years. I did a lot of J-juice in the beginning, like got rid of a lot of excess fat. You saw how skinny I was. I reversed a lot of predispositions, had a lot of different pains, because that's evolution. And then I would take a break from the J-juice. And lately, I haven't got my period yet. Lately, I haven't really drank a lot of J-juice because I've been eating. And then even yesterday, I took a nap because I was like so tired. Like at 12, I was like, oh my God. And I actually did a lot of sneezes yesterday too. So there's something from the wind, because it was really windy yesterday, that floated into my environment, that I was blowing my nose and getting all this loogie stuff out, and I was blowing my nose and then stuffed up, which you can kind of hear kind of residual. And so yesterday I took a nap for like a couple hours, and then I got up, like, okay, what's going on here, because I wasn't really around anybody, but it was really windy. And so it's like the body will continue to evolve. It will continue to evolve. It will continue to feel evolution. And so at some point you take a break and you allow your body to finally regenerate. You might get a little pooch, might get a butt, you might get a little, but you're not going to get too fat, because the thing is with feeling bloated and feeling like with the big tummy and everything, it's like all that poop. And that's why I say in the beginning, you do a bunch of J-juice to kind of get your body really used to getting the poop out. But you also don't want to energize, the agonist antibodies that are regenerating other parts of your body, but you also get rid of the excess agonist antibodies that are categorized as cancer. And so it's a balance, and everyone's going to find that balance. And so with cancer, okay, so I have the trinity of antibodies: super growth antibodies, hence the pain; balanced growth agonists, not pain; and then search and destroy antibodies. So there's two different types of antibodies, primary and secondary, but which one is primary, which one is secondary is based upon your predispositions. So if you have cancer, then you have a lot of super growth antibodies that need to be balanced out. So you have a balanced growth of agonist antibodies with hardly any pain, but you're still evolving. If you have a lot of pain, you have a lot of growth that needs to happen, and you need to bring all the rest of your body up to that level. And then also too, the search and destroy antibodies are the ones that keeps the proportions to your body, so your arm doesn't go 10 feet long and your legs don't go 10 feet long. That there's actually a specific design that's being kept into account, that's being factored in. And so in the beginning, when you're trying to train your sphincter to release, because J-juice is going to be that energy to release until you have finally found and mastered the ability to release on your own without the J-juice. And yes, sometimes you're going to feel constipation, and you will do J-juice because of that, because you have so much jetsam and flotsam from your lymph nodes from all over your body, then now being pushed down through your colon, you're going to have the extra energy of the J juice to push it out. And you might be doing this for a while. I did the J juice for a couple years before I really tapered off. And some of you have gone on and off, which I get it, I understand, but you're not sure what exactly your program is going to be. And I really can't tell everyone their program. So when I'm writing my book, I'm going to say in the beginning, this is what I did. This is what I was dealing with. These were the specific measurable results. And so there's going to be kind of like a high school of Jilly juice, which I guess I'm going to put that in the book, is that, freshman year, you do a bunch of J juice if you're really, really obese, and you get the poop out, eat a bunch of food, all that, and you train your body. When you're a sophomore, maybe you don't drink as much, but if you're really underweight, then you still drink J juice, but you eat a bunch of food and you don't energize the food away. I mean, yeah, if you have cancer and you're really, really skinny, you're going to eat a bunch of food and do J juice and try to find a balance between, because yes, you want to get rid of the excess or the super growth antibodies that are causing so much, but you also want to bring everything else. You want to bring in the food that's going to code the other portions of your system to then start growing, which means that you're going to see a bunch of stuff come to surface and a bunch of different pains in different parts of your body as they are now finally evolving to the level of that cancer, to the actual level of that cancer, to where it's not cancer now, it's just your body growing as if you were in somebody's womb, okay, and you just got reborn. But I'm not trying to bring religion into this. And so that's like, so the sophomore and the junior and the senior, then it's like, okay, when you're at my level or at John's level or Bridget's level or at Caroline or different people's level, they've been on the J juice for a while and they already did the waterfalls, they've primed their body and they've been really, really conscientious about it. Time to take a break and do waterfalls maybe once a week. Try to be conscientious and do waterfalls like maybe once every 2 weeks and eat all the food and allow fat to get on your body, because fat is the healing prostaglandin hormones. And then also the fat is helps with the agonist antibodies provide growth to other areas of your body. And it also gives you energy. And then also help build up your muscles too. Not like you're trying to be all muscly, but you must have a certain amount of fat on your body to provide the agonist and healing. Prostaglandins, are the ones that give and take. They are part of the immune system. They are the two sides of the immune system. Okay, the ones that provide growth and the ones that actually factor in the design of the body where you don't have too much of any one thing. And so I did also too the Trinity of intelligence of the intelligent microbiome, where the viruses are at the top of the pyramid, and then in the second is the parasites, the fungus. Okay, and there's still parasites. The viruses are still parasites too. And then on the bottom, what the actual foundation of all intelligence is proteins, protozoa, and bacteria. And so, when you understand that parasites and protozoa and fungus and all that are necessary, they're intelligent, they're part of the microbiome, then you won't try to go and kill them. That's why you're seeing such a shortened lifespan with a lot of people, especially when people are doing cannabis, because biochemistry is energy. And so when you're doing drugs, I don't care what they are, whether street drugs, illicit drugs, or legalized drugs, those drugs are releasing biochemistry. They're releasing energy, of which some people can't afford to have that kind of energy release. And so, yes, they may do great for a while on their drugs, but then you'll see down the road the aging process of somebody that's been on drugs for a long time, because the body's releasing all of this energy, and it's like a very slow leak. Okay, and it's a mosquito. A very slow leak. And then eventually you will see the actual aging process set in, where someone's hair goes gray. They're losing collagen in their skin. They're so skinny. They have now other types of issues and predispositions are coming to surface. And so this is why eventually you want to get off the drugs and even alcohol maybe once in a while, just so you can have some kind of little bit of fun every so often. But alcohol also releases energy, releases biochemistry that a person can't necessarily afford, and then it messes with their endocrine system. No different than pot messes with the endocrine system. And so eventually people will get off the pot, they will get off of all the different drugs, and then you'll understand why when someone says, okay, this causes cancer, that causes cancer, this causes cancer, it's because it's cancer, it's pejorative on a body that's at a major deficit. So that's why that's why cigarettes were promoted back in the 1950s when people are relatively healthy. And then what happens is over years of procreation on bodies with deficits and compound predispositions, people can't afford to have that much evolution. And so then cigarettes have become like demonized because people can't afford to have any kind of growth. And so you see then the lifespans are becoming shorter and shorter, and people's tolerance to growth and evolution are becoming very, very narrow, like almost to non-existent. And then you start seeing all the different predispositions. Either someone is not gaining any weight or they're gaining so much weight. And so they have no balance at all. And so then I said, after you've done your initial waterfalls and you've emptied your gut, all of your old poop, you can now do 1 week of Jilly juice every other day and then 1 week off, or you figure out. I mean, when you're in pain, people want to do J juice as a painkiller. I get it. Here's the thing. Some of you are very busy. You'll figure it out, but give yourself a chance to rest too and be with the pain. When I had the last exposure to COVID that gave me the throbbing headaches, oh my God, I really didn't do J juice. I ate a bunch of steak. I went to bed. I slept. I watched Netflix to kind of redirect my focus. And I just allowed my body to do what it needed to do because it had to go through that process. I was not trying to get rid of the pain. And that's the thing. At some point, you will not want to try to get rid of the pain. You will want to be with it. And that does come at an advanced level because most people want to get rid of pain as soon as it comes about. And I get it because it does take time. You've been trained so long not to deal with pain. You've been trained so long to anesthetize your body. You've been trained so long to take things out. And then you have no tolerance for pain. Or you train your body to go drink and do drugs and all those things that you never really feel evolution. You just start releasing energy. Whether it's destructive to you or destructive to somebody else, you start releasing energy and it becomes like a supernova. And you see people in relationships and themselves supernova. Whether it's in that relationship or it's out there, with people doing really stupid stuff out there in the public. So that's why, when you are out there right now with everybody supernovaing, just be mindful of who you hang out with and where you go, because you don't know when someone's going to glitch. And that's the thing, is we don't know, unless we know somebody very well, we don't know when people are going to glitch. So you just have to be cognizant of that and not try to be like, oh yeah, everyone should be out there doing everything as if nothing has ever changed. But no, the virus has changed the landscape. All of the different therapeutics have changed the landscape. We're in a major reset because we have so much unbalanced energy out there that now finally there needs to be that balancing force of where now you're choosing to evolve. It's just like Christopher Columbus coming into the Americas, and the Indians were forced to evolve to the viruses and to the new entity. And so you either can evolve or perish. That's just, there's no two ways about it. Because at some point, there's going to be that balancing force. Everything changes. That's the thing about our society. What's so consistent is everything is going to change at some point. And can you adapt to the changes in the environment, to the changes in the climate, to the changes in your families and friends and your environment and your community? And if you can't adapt to those changes, then you're going to be suffering from evolution that is not being supported correctly. And then, yes, the thermodynamics around evolution on a body that can't handle it is then, yes, pejorative. It is cancer, disease, chronic illness, autoimmune disorders, and intolerance to new information, which is lack of evolution, which you see all over my business page. I have very faithful fans that don't like my information, but they are steadily watching it. So I think part of them likes the information, or they wouldn't be looking at it, because I'm going to tell you, I don't follow people that I don't agree with. If anything, I avoid them like the plague because I don't want their energy. But somehow people do like my information, whether or not they actually will say they like it. They'll just angry face the crap out of it, but it's still giving me energy. And they're still trying to figure out, find something, some kind of something that they can relate to, or they wouldn't be watching me. Okay. So give your body the chance to regenerate. Okay. And then make sure that you train your sphincter to get the poop out, so you're not relying on Jilly juice to help you poop. At some point, you're going to have to get the poop out and find a way to do it without having to drink Jilly juice all the time. And I'm telling you, once you figure that out, because there's ways. I mean, that's why you have fingers. That's why it's been very, very stigmatized of understanding your body and always relying on the medical establishment to do stuff for you. But you as a human have hands and digits and things for a reason. And now it's time you must figure out how to use it, or else you'll be relying on somebody else, relying on J juice. But then do you want to drink J juice all the time to help you poop? At some point, you're going to have to figure out that, yes, once a week, if you don't do Jilly juice every day to get the poop out, you poop every day, of course. But maybe, you do waterfalls once a week or once a month just to kind of regenerate your system, recalibrate it, and get the rest of the excess poop out. Or when you first start the J juice, you can do little cups here and there, but eventually all of that jetsam and flotsam are going to be gathering at the end point of your system. And if you don't have enough energy to release it, then you're going to have to do J juice or find an enema or something to get rid of the poop. You'll figure it out. That will be your project to do, because I can't tell you how to do stuff. But and so once you all learn that Jilly juice is energy, and if you have an active lifestyle and you've done J juice for a while, then it's time to eat food and do J juice maybe once a month and get a certain level of evolution and feel the pain. Pain is the body regenerating. Okay. And so I want those that are cancer patients to understand that, yes, do Jilly juice to help release the excess super growth agonist antibodies, but also, you start eating food. I mean, seriously, eating food. If you have to do a little bit of J juice with the food, with the meat, with the milk, with all that, yes, your stomach's going to hurt because it's finally able to be exposed to new information. And yes, the body is going to start healing with that new information. It's data. All food has data. I don't care if it's from Big Agra in the soils over there or from some local garden that's down the street that claims to be all organic and everything else. If the food can grow, it has the nutrients and it has the environment, and you are in the environment, so you can adapt to any kind of food out there. So as long as it's growing in the environment that you're in, okay? And if it's able to stay in its form on its way over here, then you'll be fine. You'll use that data to your benefit, and it'll code your DNA to do what it's supposed to do. And then you have an original design. So even though it's GMO, or even though you've been exposed to a therapeutic, you'll still be able to adapt to the level of your environment, and you're not going to implode. You're not going to be all like, Chewbacca or any of those zombies. You're still going to keep the spirit of life in your body, and you'll probably be even more intelligent. Not saying you're not intelligent now, but you'll be even more intelligent because you'll be able to adapt to your environment. You're not going to be constantly resisting everything in your environment and being out there, against everything. That you'll finally be able to just fluidly be able to adapt without raising a ruckus everywhere. Okay, and so yeah, I'm going to be, I got to write out the trinity of antibodies. I have trinity of substance, which is the fatty amino acids and the prohormones and the minerals. I have the trinity of waterfalls, which is release, regenerate, or release, rehydrate, and rest. And then the trinity of image, electrical impulses, gases, acids, and then matter. And then I have to write out the trinity of antibodies, because what really is the top of the pyramid for the antibodies is the balanced growth antibodies, supported by two sides, the two dueling factions, the super growth antagonist antibodies and the search and destroy. Okay, so when you have balance at the top, great, but what happens when things get out of balance because you went to a new environment, or you stop eating food, or you let yourself go? And I don't know how that would happen. I mean, right now, what would it take for me to let myself go, to bring back all the crap that I did? I don't even know what would it take, because if I healed everything, why would it go back to what it was before? It wouldn't. So it would be like a new thing. I know what I would do to get back to where I was before. I'd be taking antibiotics. That's what causes people to have predispositions and to cause them to stay on the trajectory they were, is that they are taking antibiotics. They are destroying the growth and life in their body. They don't allow their body to balance things out. And so if you're accumulating poop, if you're accumulating all the different agonist and antagonist antibodies and you're not releasing, then those are going to glitch your system and then cause so many different malfunctions. And so yes, so the top of the pyramid is going to be the balanced growth antagonist. So number one actually is balanced growth antibodies, and then on two sides, on the two bases, is going to be 2 and 3 are going to be the super growth AB antibodies, and then the search and destroy antibodies. And those actually will play off each other relative to your environment. And eventually you want to have an experience of a balanced antibody growth, and then a balanced search and destroy antibodies. But balanced growth antibodies means that the search and destroy are working the way it's supposed to. Okay? And so the trinity of everything is, my book is going to have the trinity of everything. And it's going to illustrate that the fact that the 17 influential families gave us this possibility. They gave us all of their research, all of their documentation, even, their truths. Okay, so, I said the 17 influential families basically created cancer, disease, and chronic illness because they don't know any better. And even if they did know any better, how could they convert a public into thinking that pain is healing when they've predicated their whole system that the Hippocratic Oath is, pain is something bad. And so when your whole system is about destroying evolution because you don't want to feel pain, how do you then change that whole platform? There's no freaking way. It's just like going in and saying, okay, no more beer, everybody. We're gonna do prohibition. And you see how many people out there were doing bootleg type of stuff. So if the system tries to just aggressively just change the whole platform where now everybody has to be in pain and here's Jilly juice and eat the food and everyone's like, oh my God, then you're gonna have all these underground herbalists that are going to be promoting antibiotics that need to be regulated. And then all of a sudden we're back to where we were before. Okay, so there has to be some kind of very slow transition of evolution of changing the whole paradigm around. And it's not easy. It's like going into the Americas from Spain and discovering America. And there's the Indians and the Native Americans going like, we don't want you. We don't like you. We don't want to hear anything you have to say. And they're like, what the heck? We're trying to help you out. We want to give you a better life. We don't want a better life. Well, we're trying to give it to you. We don't want it. I mean, that's exactly what goes on today and no different than way back when. And then the whole change management process through the International Organization of Standardization is saying, okay, how do we implement change management and best practices and business process reengineering with as little resistance as possible? And people resist, fine. They made that choice to resist. They won't be here because their time's a ticking. The environment's going to be more aggressive and they won't be able to handle it. And so I get the bigger freaking picture, and I want you to get the bigger picture. So you're not demonizing the people that have created your way of life that you could change at any point in time. Again, everything's about perception, about truths. And if you take some kind of evidence and some kind of witness, and you're able to create another story or convert another story that actually can be very substantiated and substantial, then you can change the way people think. You can change the way people do things, and you can influence a jury to see your side. Okay. And that's really what politics, religion, and science is taking all the evidence, all the witnesses, and creating a truth to influence somebody who is like their own personal judge, jury, and executioner. Okay. And so that's all I'm offering to you guys. I'm going to be writing about this, obviously, and I'm definitely going to be writing about the high school of Jilly juice. So people understand in the beginning, if you're really obese or if you're really skinny, this is how you can do Jilly juice. I'm not anyone's doctor. If you feel pain, you don't want to deal with it, then go see your doctor. That's it. But I'm telling you, I'm going to give you some kind of very loose framework on how to approach J juice in the beginning. And those that are very seasoned, you'll figure out how to balance out both the ionic and the covalent bonding. And that's it. All right. Bye.